My guest today is writer-director Dur Jamjoom, and she discovered her passion for filmmaking at the age of 11, and she found solace in capturing moments with her family and the recognition she received from them, and transformed her from the quiet girl into a rising filmmaker. Now, her new short film, KUM-KUM, is based on a true story that in 2012 she experienced the untimely and tragic passing of her best friend, which introduced her to a range of unfamiliar feelings and emotions as she was unable to comprehend. Now, this incredibly heartbreaking short film has been selected from over 8,000 entries for this prestigious Tribeca Film Festival. Now, she aims to create films that entertain, evoke emotions, and inspire change. Now, with her storytelling prowess and cohesive style, she seeks to leave a lasting impact on viewers' hearts and minds. And she has done just that with her film KUM-KUM. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome filmmaker Dur Jamjoom to the show. Welcome.
Hi.
Well, it's so great to have you here. And I was
Pleasure to.
reading your bio that
Mhm.
you were known as a quiet girl when you were younger. How did becoming a filmmaker give you a louder voice?
So when I was a child, I was such an introverted child, and I didn't know how to talk or express my emotions. And I always just stay on the sidelines and always observe. And people used to think that, okay, she's not normal, she's not talking that much, she's always quiet, and but from my perspective, I always loved to observe, I always loved to listen. And I was such a rebellious kid because I didn't want to study. I just wanted to have fun and play. And I remember that the only like people that I talked to was my toys. So I used to make these stories with, like, for example, I had Woody from Toy Story, and I had like other toys such as animals or in making up stories. And I was so inspired by Toy Story, how the kid was making up stories, and we go through his imaginations. And I used to be like that kid. And people used to see me and like, okay, she's weird. She always talked to her toys. And I find it very hard to talk because the only way how I express my emotions is through visuals. And how I found that is my cousin showed me an app, kind of like TikTok, but it's not. So it's basically like you shoot videos and it's inserted with like music, and it combines all the footages together. And I was so intrigued, and I used to bring all my cousins and direct them and make up music videos and select music such as Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Beyonce, Michael Jackson. And when I showed my parents and my family, it's like, oh, well, she has some talent. She's not just a quiet girl. She might have something. And when I found that way of to express my emotions through visuals, I said, okay, I want this. I want to be a director. I want to be a filmmaker. And I did like a time capsule box, and it says like open at the age of 23. So I'm 23 right now. And I opened it, and the first thing that I saw was like, you are nothing but a director or a filmmaker. I was like, okay, I gotta live up to that word and fulfill the dreams of a 10-year-old.
And you
So
did. You
yeah.
did with this
Yeah.
brand new film of yours, KUM-KUM. And I have to ask because you grew up in Saudi Arabia. And for all of us in America, what's the film industry like over there?
Okay, so the film industry started to bloom in the year of, I think, 2022. It happened recently, and or 2018. I'm not sure because it first started in 2002. They closed all the cinemas in Saudi Arabia. It was not allowed, it was banned. And we used to take, me and my family, we used to go watch cinemas outside of Saudi Arabia. So when they opened it in 2018, everyone was so excited. Everyone went to the cinemas. It was so packed, and it was like a whole new thing that was going on with the vision of 2030 for Saudi Arabia. If you look into that, they are building so much new adaptations, and they're trying to make like New York, with the whole new adaptation of the city, such as architecture, industry, entertainment, and so many more that they're working on. And I was very fortunate that when I graduated from the university, everyone was so interested in cinema. And I was like, this is a perfect timing for me to graduate, and everyone is interested of my major, because back then everyone was thinking like, they're just playing around with cameras and they're not really doing anything. This is not a major. This is just silliness. And when they saw that the effort that we put into this is just, it's not us just filming each other and having fun. No, it we put so much effort and so much ideas that people don't know that it's very difficult to make films.
That's
So
very,
yeah.
very, that's very true. And I can't even imagine, here in America, we're spoiled. We've had cinemas since, I don't know, the 19 teens, 1910 or so, when they started off as silent movies. But to have cinemas banned, I mean, that's
Mm,
extremely hard to comprehend. But you were right. You came out of this with perfect timing. And in a way, it was a very large step of faith for you to be going to
yeah,
university to learn about filmmaking, knowing that at the time, the theaters
it was.
were still closed and not open. And all of a sudden, here you are, you're stepping out, and the whole industry is blossoming in Saudi Arabia. Now, let's talk about your incredible short film, KUM-KUM. It's been 12 years since you lost your best friend. Did
Yeah.
creating this film bring you any peace and healing?
Um, yes, because when you keep these visions inside your head for so long, and when you see it right in front of your face, it just makes you understand that the grief that I've went through, it was so hard. And that transitioning of from a 12-year-old to like, because you're between of like a kid to a teenager, so you're going through this roller coaster of emotions. And at the age of 12, for me, it was so difficult to, as I said before, to express emotions. And people used to call me the tin can from Wizard of Oz, that I didn't have a heart because I didn't understand emotions. For example, like whenever I go to funerals, I always ask, like, why are people crying? Like, they know at one point that all of us are going to die at some day, at some point. And it was such a dark, I don't know. For me, I didn't realize that it was so hard for people to lose someone, because I didn't feel connected to that person who, to the people that passed away. So when I know that person, my best friend who passed away, I started to understand from their perspective, which gave me a new lens of seeing life in a different perspective, and it shaped my personality, and it made me grow up as a person. So when I put that in front of me and see that transition, it made me, you know, humbled and understand the emotions. And it's, I made this film because I wanted to say, like, thank you for the person who passed away, because that person who passed away, my best friend, she taught me so much. Because at the age of 12, when you're going to be a 13-year-old, a lot of girls start to behave differently. So I started to become like an outsider, and I didn't relate to any of them. So I became so lonely, and I was such in a bubble that I needed someone to burst it. So my friend who passed away just inspired me to become a better person. She was a great kid, and she was very religious, and she was very innocent and very pure. And I was so inspired by the pureness of her heart. And till this day, I look up to her. And I wanted to make this film as just to to thank her.
It's a beautiful film, Dor. I mean,
Thank
when I as I watched this film, and I watched it twice to
you.
really to really grab hold of your story and your emotions. And you cover quite a bit of emotions that a lot of people today deal with when they
Hmm.
lose someone close to them. They see that loss happening,
Yeah,
and so I can understand the related fears that you showed in this film: the fear of
yeah,
losing someone, the voices, becoming overprotective of those around you. For
yeah.
you, how was it for you to manage those fears and then put them on film?
Um, w- well, when I wanted to make this film, it first started when we were doing this intermediate course, intermediate script writing. So I was so scared. I wanted to always make this film, but at the same time, I was so scared to make this film because I didn't want to exploit my friend as, oh, she passed away, and like I didn't want to exploit that. So I kept it on the side. It was always in the back of my head, and I just didn't want to tackle it. So I kept on bringing new ideas, and none of them were working, and none of them liked it. So then I was like, okay, so I have to go with my plan D, uh, which is about this story, KUM-KUM. And I started writing it and writing it and writing it, and everyone was so intrigued, and they loved it because it was such a famous story back at our home. Everyone knew this story, and because my friend who passed away, everyone knew because the story started to pass along through everyone, and everyone started to gossip about it, and it went like through friends, and everyone knew about it. So when I started to write the stories, like everyone had a different perspective. It was like, oh, I thought this happened. Oh, I thought that happened. Oh, I thought this happened. I was like, okay. And when uh, when I started, because I wasn't there when the situation happened, and I started to grab all these different perspectives, and I realized that everyone is. It had like a same rhythm of how someone's passing can affect someone's living. So I was so scared to tackle it, but at the same time, I was so eager to tackle it because, as I said before, it's just I was so inspired by her that I just want to make this film and say thank you to her because it's such a full life cycle that when you enter to high school feeling scared, and then when you graduate with this film, is just saying thank you to her because you made me the person who I am today. So, yeah,
Yeah, and I loved this film.
thank you.
The story is fantastic.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever lost someone close to you, and all of the feelings you go through, the grief, maybe depression, there's fears, Maybe you're hearing their voice again in your mind, but you turn to look to think that they were there. Every piece of that is in this film. Um, Dora, I find this film for those that have lost someone. I think there's healing in this film. Do you feel that
Yeah.
way?
Yes. Because Kumkum, it delves into a transformative power of experiencing loss and how it can shape one's existence. And through this autobiographical journey, the film explores like intricate connections between faith, suffering, resilience, and personal growth. So, so it
It
was
does.
inspiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does all of those things and
Hmm.
more. And as I was watching the film, first of all, I have to say the cinematography is great. I mean,
I'm,
that's what makes this film beautiful. I love the close camera shots
mm,
of each of the friends.
mhm.
You really, in a way, you feel what each one is about. If they're laughing, you feel their joy. Um,
Yeah.
so that you told the story through the lens perfectly.
I'm
And as
glad.
I was watching this film, and I'm presuming that that is you who is
Hmm.
sitting on the beach. Uh, does the ocean bring you peace when you're near it, or is it a constant
Yeah.
reminder of your friend?
Um, well, something you should know about me that all my friends call me a fish because of how much I love the sea. It brings me peace because when you look at the sea, it's like an endless horizon, and it's like kind of metaphorically saying that you don't know what's your future beholds or holds, and when you look at it, you just start like daydreaming and start to think about your future. And when you're floating, you feel like you're flying. And if I've done 6 short films, and all my previous work also is located at the sea. So they said, okay, now we get your style. You love the sea. We get it. So yeah. So
Yeah, I mean,
whenever
I
I
can
come to
see.
see,
Yeah, I mean, I can
mhm,
see the healing
yeah,
that the sea will bring to anyone.
yeah,
And but you tell this story so perfectly. I mean, of course, the film starts out with four friends having fun, and there's
yeah,
laughter, and then it slowly makes that turn, and you show us losing your friend. You show the grief and the family
mhm,
uh, coming together, and then you show us, the different emotions that you bring after the funeral.
yeah,
But I still believe that this film is going to bring a healing to a lot of people.
yeah,
And here it is now, a film that's going to be appearing at the Tribeca Film Festival. Um,
yeah.
how does that make you feel that your film was chosen out of over 8,000 entries?
I still can't believe it. I'm still dreaming right now. Like I'm pinching myself, and I wanted to wake up, but I don't know. This I don't know how to express my feelings because the way how I express my feelings is through visuals. I think the next film is like how I feel with Tribeca selecting my film. But I'm very blessed, and it's a very fortunate opportunity to be part of this festival, and it's one of the prestigious festival, and I'm very happy, like coming from Saudi Arabia, and I've been told that I am the first Saudi filmmaker to be selected at Tribeca. I'm not sure it's for short films or if it's feature, but they told me that you're the first Saudi, and they said like your history. I was like, wow, okay, that raised the stakes. So,
That really does. And you know, and what I find even more special that your film is being shown at Tribeca, and here you are coming from Saudi Arabia, whose
mhm,
film industry is extremely young. And
yes.
coming from a time in which cinema was banned, now cinema is
Mhm,
back. And here you are in New York City, uh, one of the largest cities in the world, and
yeah.
a hub in the areas of entertainment from Broadway to film. I mean,
Mhm,
the list just goes on and on. And here you are
yes.
bringing this incredible film uh, to Tribeca. Now, for you, what was the casting process like?
Oh. The casting process took me a year and a half because, it's very hard to find girls who accept wearing t-shirts and like shorts or leggings and them swimming. So it was very hard to find girls who agree. And it took me a year and a half going through cast and another cast, and I did street casting, and I went to up to every cafes, and it was like, "Hi, would you want to act in my film?" And they all look like, "What?" They're because they're so weirded out. I was like, "Who's this lady asking me to act?" Because as you said, it's still a baby and the entertainment industry, and nobody really understands the process of how to do filmmaking or how to do films because a lot of people still don't get it except just the lights and camera and action and the Oscars,
Well,
um,
is there a religious barrier that you had to overcome when casting because
um,
of girls that would be comfortable in wearing a t-shirt or leggings, and because I noticed that on at the beach, these girls were all wearing full leggings in the water. So I
yeah,
when I watched it, I thought, okay, that's probably a cultural thing, correct?
yeah. Um, yes and no. People, girls do wear shorts, and but just because they don't want to be filmed with shorts is just as a respect for them, and they don't want to be, uh, in front of
No, no,
people being.
I get what. No, I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying. And to tell you the truth, I think that it actually worked to your advantage because it
yeah,
allows the viewer watching your film to focus on the girls,
yeah,
focus on their camaraderie, having fun together, and not focusing on four girls maybe wearing shorts or wearing bikinis or
yeah,
whatever. So I
yeah,
think this truly worked to your film's advantage. How many
yeah.
days did it take to film it?
It took a week to film it. It was supposed to be 5 days, but it was so difficult because when you're dealing with nature, it's really especially like the hardest thing to film is in the water, especially when it's like in the middle of the sea. Like anything could happen, and you're dealing with like sea creatures. And there was like weird creatures swimming along, and everyone was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Nothing. It's not a shark, or it's not a barracuda. No, it's fine. You're all fine." So yeah, it was very difficult, and we did the reshoot for 2 days. Like we added 2 extra days, and I think that was perfect because we wanted to make it 1 week, but because everyone had like other things to do, so we made it 5 days, but because of the nature, we did like extra 2 days.
So how long was the editing process?
The editing process took like 2 weeks. Yeah, it took 2 weeks, and it was very difficult to because I was editing it too, and they always say like it's better to give it to an editor because you're so attached to this film and you don't want to really keep the whole shot, because sometimes the director was like, no, just a little bit more, I want the whole thing. And I had to give it a break because I don't want to be too attached to it. So I left the film like a week, and then I came back and started to edit it. And I started to look at it in a different perspective, because when you're editing it, it's just like a whole new film. So it took like 2 weeks.
Wow, because this film was just recently completed, and then here
Yeah,
you are appearing at the Tribeca Film Festival. What do you hope
yeah.
that the audience will take away from your film when they see it?
Um, I hope for the audience to feel connected to this story, and to understand that you're not alone, and it's hard. It's hard for someone to lose someone, but it does give you an advantage of you growing up as a person, and start to move on and continue life, because life doesn't stop from now when that happens. So you have to move on and continue, and start to learn from the past and start to move forward, and not fear from what happened. Because, for example, in this film, my main character, when that tragic incident happened, she was so scared to enter to the sea again. But she had to, push it and be courageous enough to get in, because, that shouldn't make her scared.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
and I saw that in this film, and this is one of the reasons why I think your film is so good. It's a beautiful film. It's a beautiful story, but it evokes the emotions that you want all of us to see, to feel,
Yeah.
to understand. And I think your film is going to be a very big hit at the Tribeca Film
Hopefully.
Festival. And I
Hopefully.
love short films. And I think yours is right there at the top because it has, when it comes to film, you have all of the elements perfectly placed together. The cinematography is great. The audio is great. The coloring is great. So you have no worries when your film is shown to all of the audiences that are going to have the opportunity to see this wonderful film. Now, for you, do you have any new projects coming up while your short film is making the rounds at all of the film festivals?
Yes. So I'm currently writing two short films, and I'm also writing, for the first time, a long feature film. And it's all tackling the same idea of human development. So usually, whenever I tackle stories, I always love to show the optimistic side of it. Like, something terrible happens, and like there's the end of the rainbow. You would find the treasure. And so yeah, so I always tackle stories like that.
I agree 110% with you. Some of the best films that I've seen in the last couple of years follow, I don't want to call it a formula, but they
Hmm.
follow where there may be a bit of sadness, but then there's
Yeah.
optimism, there's something
Yeah.
positive. There could be laughter.
Yeah.
And these are the type of films that I think sticks with audiences the most.
Hmm.
And this is why I'm really believing that your film KUM-KUM is going to be it's going to be an award-winning film, and I can't wait to see what you do next. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean Dur Jamjoom's short film KUM-KUM, it's a heartbreaking true story of her losing her best friend. But for all of us who have lost those around us, in which we blame ourselves, look, we will relate to her film wholeheartedly. Look, life isn't fair, and we'll never understand why certain things happen. And for some, they may live with constant reminders of a fateful day. But her
Hmm.
film brings beautiful cinematography, a wonderful cast, and her storytelling flows with ease and grace. Look, you'll feel every emotion in this film, and that's what makes a great film as well as a great filmmaker. And Dur Jamjoom has a bright future ahead of her in the world of cinema. So all of you in Saudi Arabia, you better look out because somebody's going to be filling up the cinema screens, and it's going to be Miss Jamjoom doing that cinematic work. And I want to thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you.
film with us today. And I wish you much, much success at the Tribeca Film Festival.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure
You're
speaking
very,
to you.
very welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, when you have the opportunity, now, if you are watching and you are attending the Tribeca Film Festival, make sure you see her short film, KUM-KUM. I promise you, you're going to fall in love with it. And I can't wait to see where this film goes because I think it's rising to the top because it's a beautiful film that we need more of. So, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen, you can catch all of the replays of our interviews with the top film directors, producers, and screenwriters, even actors and more on Bond on Cinema at both our YouTube channel as well as our website. We're also available on a dozen audio platforms as iTunes and Spotify, so make sure you subscribe to any of those. But I want to thank you for watching and listening. And as for me, I'm either going to see you at the movies or from the red carpet.